Come follow us
on our journey to get a low-budget
DIY
feature film from script
to screen and beyond.
Nobody knows who we are.
Look at yourselves, realistically, nobody's going to give you that money. Nobody. You don't know who the fuck you are. It's a complete risk. You are unknown.
This is our first feature film, something we're going to do together. You're going to get it warts and all.
For now, you're just some pair of idiots like everyone else.
Never wait for permission. You just have to start.
Give yourself something impossible to do, and then just find the bloody way of making that thing happen.
This is DIY Cinema Cult.
Welcome one and all to DIY Cinema Cult. I am still Mark Hardman. Are you still Aaron Trinder?
I think I am, yes. Although there's been many transformations, but I believe that my name is still the same.
It's good to hear.
How are you doing, Mark?
I'm doing very, very well, mate. We're
is
both.
This the first podcast that we've done where you've been not in London?
No,
I
think didn't we do one where I'd moved? I am in my kind of new office now, which is nice. So I'm kind of settled in a bit more.
It's all been new office on the south coast of England, no less.
Yes, we are down by the seaside and living the seaside shanty life. No, it's very nice actually. So we're kind of enjoying it. We're well settled in now. I've been down here for months and months and months. We're both kind of a bit under the weather, aren't we? We apologise, listeners, if our voices are a little croaky and maybe sexy. Maybe you don't mind.
That's true. I'll take that.
But you have very good reason to be quite under the weather, Aaron, because you have had a very, very busy period with Free Party, your film. For people who have been listening to this podcast for quite a while, or maybe you've just dropped in and you're starting to listen, me and Aaron have both been kind of trying to push forward into existence these our indie feature films. And Aaron's film, a feature doc about the Free Party culture and rave culture from the early 90s onwards has kind of blossomed into a very, very near finished, at least finished for festival run feature film. And you've been picked up and been going on a bit of a nationwide tour with Doc and Roll. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's been an extremely long process to get us to this stage, but for those of our listeners who may have had the unfortunate or insight to listen to our perineum episode, which obviously is not for everyone's taste, but if you sort of saw it all the way through the end,
that has been our most complained about episode. I've had several people come up to me and say, "Stop doing the stuff where you're talking to ghosts."
Well, if anyone got to the end of that madness, it's a little bit like the Sergeant Pepper's had a little secret message at the end, didn't it?
Yeah.
Not saying that the preceding 45 minutes was anything as good as the Beatles.
It's always good to liken yourselves to the Beatles every now and again, just to boost your confidence.
Exactly, but that episode did have a secret message in it, and the secret message was we cast a little ritual, didn't we?
We did.
We applied a chaos magic ritual, which obviously, not being particularly, religious or superstitious types, it was all done with a tongue firmly in our cheek and gin thoroughly in our veins.
Yes.
But we cast a ritual, and the idea was that we would summon things forwards in the year, and thankfully, I think partly because of that, and also partly because of a series of other very fortuitous and hard-working moments of the year, we got accepted to a film festival, and it was a fantastic way of getting the film both up to a level where we could screen it at cinemas, which is terrifying in itself because there's a whole bunch of technical and legal and otherwise challenges to actually show it to people who are buying tickets to come to see a film. And then we went on this amazing tour all across the UK to lots and lots of art house, independent or small chain kind of cinemas. So wow, I don't even know where to start. We were in Brighton, which was a fantastic screening at the Duke of York, which is the oldest surviving cinema in the UK. A fantastic music hall space with beautiful sound. We were in Manchester, we were in Nottingham, which was obviously a very huge home of the Free Party story, and had a fantastic reaction there. We had 2 screenings on at the same cinema, one in a smaller space and one in a massive space. Incredible sound at a brilliant cinema called the Nottingham Broadway. And then we went to Cardiff and Bristol. We played 2 screenings in Bristol. We were in Sheffield, and then we were all over the country at events that I wasn't at. So I did Q&As at a number of them. So I was basically, like a traveling salesman, getting on the first train and the last train in around the country, which is a very hair-raising experience if you're ever trying to get from Cardiff into Sheffield and Sheffield back to London again all in one day with a film. We had, I think, over 23 screenings nationally, and I believe something like 85% of them were sold out.
That's incredible.
Yeah, gobsmacking, really amazing.
Wow. Shall I take you back now to the very, was it the one that I came to in Hackney? Was that UK premiere, world premiere?
Officially the world premiere, yes.
Wow.
So, although of course we've done these work in progress screenings, the film has obviously changed for a great deal. So this was our first official screening in a cinema. And yes, indeed, the world premiere.
Amazing. Okay, well, let me play you this little clip right now. Listen to this.
You are listening to the debut feature film podcast. This is DIY Cinema Cult.
We are in the Rio Cinema, Dalston, in swinging London.
Swinging London.
It's the launch of the Dock and Roll launch of your film Free Party. How are you feeling?
Oh God, absolutely petrified. It's been such an intense period of sort of dealing with all of the many millions of logistics to kind of make something happen. What's kind of been really interesting is doing the DIY process that we've both been going through.
Yeah.
To actually deliver a film for a film festival, because obviously, it's all very well showing something on a projector at the back of a pub or whatever, or looking at it on your laptop screen, but delivering to the cinema spec has been the really, really scary thing. But also clearing the music, which has been endless, challenges and interesting moments of this music we can use, we can't use this music, this one's going to be this much money, all that kind of stuff's been...
So have you had to pull things out last minute for these festival screenings?
Yeah, we had, there was probably the last music track was slotted in a week ago today. Right. Yeah. So we were mixing the sound over the weekend. I mean, it's been proper all the way to the last minute,
And you're cleared now for all festival screenings or just for this setup here?
We are cleared for film festivals for 1 year worldwide for music, and for most of the picture archive as well, because that was another thing, clearing all the picture. Those 2 things mean that now we are able to screen the film at film festivals across the world, apart from a few picture things that we've got to navigate, but hopefully we can sort that out. So it's amazing. We're right at the start of, I suppose, our year's worth of festival journey, so we're here at the Hackney Rio, so a bit scary, thinking, will it be full of people, will the sound okay, all that.
I noticed during a Good Company as well over Halloween they're screening Don't Look Now, The Wicker Man, Possession, so you're in good company.
Good company. And there was going to be one moment about 3 weeks ago where they were like, oh no, we're going to have to pull your film because we've got the new Martin Scorsese film on, and I was like, no. But actually we were screening at the same week and the same day as a Scorsese film, so that's definitely something I never thought I'd be able to say. So yeah, it's very exciting. We're obviously in London tonight, Brighton tomorrow, and then all over the country, and then back to London again for the 10th of November, which is going to be our Brixton final screening.
And tell us about Dock and Roll. How did you come about getting that? Because it feels quite unique, the setup in they take films on a tour of the country, essentially, don't they?
Yeah, I think what was kind of interesting, I suppose, about my film is thinking, well, what's a good home for it? Because it's music-based, but it's obviously also a kind of cultural story. And I've been in contact and conversations with the people at Dock and Roll for a couple of years, really, 2 or 3 years. I sent them a very early trailer. And so we've had lots of chats, and it just felt like this is a sort of perfect way to get it out in the world. Bizarrely, our film has got the most screenings across the most places in the country, And so far, we're looking like we've got a hell of a lot of sellouts as well. So it's absolutely mad. Yeah.
All started here on this podcast, basically.
It did. And I was thinking about it because it was like January 2019, and we did our first interviews around that time.
Well, should we get out of this echoey little bar and we go back? You probably have people to meet and stuff. So and the screening is, when is the screening? It's in
6:30, so only in half an hour. So yeah, I think a pre-film kind of beer to settle the nerves, and then me with my head in my hands throughout the whole process.
Are you saying a few words before the film?
I don't know about before, but we're doing a little Q&A afterwards.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, which should be fun.
Okay. Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
We're going to take our seats. Break a leg, mate. It's going to be brilliant.
I'm going to stand in the back.
Oh my God, what a great cinema.
Hello, folks. Good evening. Hello. My name's Colin Ford. I'm the programmer of Dock and Roll Film Festival. I'm glad to be standing here at this phenomenal film and its world premiere. Give it up for Aaron, the director. That's it. Enjoy.
I can't quite describe it correctly, but it is. It's magic.
I loved it. I've been going to free parties since I was 15 years old, and I've wanted like a documentation of the free party journey.
Very inspirational, definitely. Yeah, no, fucking makes me want to go out.
Really beautifully put together with all the folk history.
I love the fact that there was you had the kind of like it tapped into the idea that it's not just like a modern phenomena. It's like it's a tribal thing. You had the pagan like imagery, the cycles of the moon projected over it and stuff. It was really good. Yeah.
Thank you guys.
No.
How did that feel?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, the main thing is that it worked. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
It worked, didn't it?
Yeah, and because you were worried about the sound and stuff.
I was worried about the sound.
Oh, I thought it sounded great, mate.
Yeah. I mean, actually, the music could have come back up a bit more.
Yeah.
It was one of those things, isn't it? Like, each venue I'll probably go to go, the music's too loud, music's too quiet.
Yeah.
Time for a podcast. We've got to go to the pub.
Yeah, we did it earlier on.
Walk and talk.
So, anyway, so well done, mate. Congratulations.
Well done. Thank you so much.
So there you go, the free party world premiere. What was it like to listen back to that?
Yeah, it's a little bit like PTSD, sort of being transported back to the stress and the anxiety of the kind of first night.
You certainly had that post-screening shell-shocked filmmaker vibe when I interviewed you. It's like what you kind of just went, well, it kind of happened and it's over now.
Yeah.
You didn't know what to say.
I know. It's very hard to have a high five moment because obviously you're watching it and all you think is, oh God, well, we didn't do that and we should have done it.
The high five moment never really comes, does it? It never really comes.
No, it's interesting that. I think partly because, it's if you've made something, all you see is all the decisions that have gone into making it. There's definitely moments in the film that I can kind of sit and rest and enjoy. I feel like there are sections that I feel like I've been comfortable with this for a while. This bit flows. I'm happy with how it all works together. And then there are other bits that I remember, changing so recently that I got that kind of feeling of like, did we do the right thing here?
Yeah.
But largely I think it's in a much better place. And so far the audience response has been pretty out of this world, really. I
And
mean,
you can really hear from that little piece how big the
yeah.
audience was for that screening, and it sounds like they were pretty much the same throughout your little run. But it was what I really loved about being in the audience for the film was it's a very, first off, appreciative and connected audience, but it's also very vocal and they're noisy. Like there's some parts, especially when Maggie Thatcher or John Major appears on screen, it's like you're at a pantomime. There's people kind of heckling the screen.
Yeah, there was a flying kind of plastic pint glass that went towards Thatcher as she came on, wasn't it? It was very interesting because the cinema itself was it was sort of around Halloween, of course, when we did that screening. And you're right, it was a very excitable, busy crowd. There was a lot of people that obviously knew it as a story, but there were lots of sort of younger people too. And, you know, it was a Friday night, so it was a bit like people, you know, finishing up from work and then let's get quite a few drinks down us. And there was a queue around the block and it was a real buzzy vibe, you know, sort of Friday night on kind of Dalston High Street. And, you know, my kids were there and my mum was there. And there was this other thing of like, obviously the screening seemed to go down really well. Lots of laughs, lots of kind of cheering and dancing and all of that, and booing when Thatcher was there, and then some quite shocked moments when there was obviously the violent kind of state kind of responses to things. And so it was a real full spectrum of reactions and emotions in a good way, you know, hopefully in somewhat connected to the way I intended. And then of course we got up to do our Q&A. Obviously there's a great response, and then you sort of realize people have been throwing stuff on stage, and there's sort of, you know, a few kind of plastic pint glasses on the stage, and the stage had actually been completely plastic wrapped, and I was thinking, what the hell are they going to do to me on the stage here, you know? And I realized
they were expecting more pint glasses, maybe, were they?
Yeah, I thought I was going to be publicly flogged or killed, or, you know, sort of sacrificially kind of yeah, exactly. You know, sort of bled on the stage. But it was partly because there was immediately afterwards a Halloween blood show that was going to be in the movie afterwards. So, yeah, it was a really interesting first screening, and then it sort of set the tone. And then some of the other screenings, particularly the one in Sheffield, was very interesting because it was a much younger audience. I would say it was 80% people in their 20s, early 20s.
Yeah.
And again, I was like, are they going to get it? You know, I don't know if people in 20s even know what a traveller was, you know, a new age traveller. Do they get it? You know, do they even know who Thatcher was? You know, this is a really interesting thing.
The crowd that I went up and talked to afterwards, they were all very young. I didn't really realize till I kind of went approached them. But I mean, first interesting thing that happened when I approached them, I went up and said, "Excuse me, guys, do you mind if I ask you some questions?" And the girl nearest to me just turned around, looked somewhere above my head, and said, No, I don't have any change. She thought I was homeless. So that was the start of my interview. Like the guy who said, I've been going to free parties since I was 15. He was probably about 18 or 19, but it was, but they had a really interesting, they particularly loved all of the, you delving right back to the start and the history. And I guess that, I mean, their only criticism was that the criticism that I cut out of the piece, but their only criticism was, when you bring it right up to date, that's the bit that they're in now. They're in the continuation now of Free Party. So they felt like that was kind of scanned over. But like you said in your interview afterwards, it's a 2-hour film or a 1 hour 40 film. There's only so much you can tell, and you are telling the folk history of it. You can't.
Yeah.
And also I remember you said on stage was it Jack from DIY? You were on stage with that
Jack
night.
from DIY. Yeah.
Someone in the audience asked, where's it going to go from now? And you said, well, two middle-aged men aren't the people you should be asking. It's the young generation. So in a way, those people I was chatting to, it's their generation that now to pick up cameras and document the next stage.
Absolutely. And I mean, like you say, you've got to stop somewhere, otherwise you're doing the history of the world. A DIY project taking up the history of the world is even more foolhardy than me attempting to make this project with no money and no support institutional at least. But I mean, that question's come up a few times. People have said, "Oh, why didn't you talk about all the free parties happening now?" And I said, "Well, there is a nod to all of that."
Yeah.
And of course, you know, that is obviously, it's very significant for people now who are involved in that sort of scene, and I'm very excited to hear about all those things happening now, because it does give you a sense of like, well, yeah, there was a spirit then, which, like you were saying just now, that spirit isn't just about raves. It's a spirit that's happened before that. It's a spirit that's happened perhaps, you know, deep into prehistory, you know, that people gather, people get together on certain times of the year, they play music together, they probably have some intoxication, they dance, they have merriment, they do it to release themselves from the everyday, they do it to transcend in some way. This is as old as it gets. I mean, you know, this is built into tribal cultures, to traditional cultures.
DIY Cinema Club.
And it seems like the little chaos magic ritual on the top of that hill way back at the start of the year has kind of worked, and it's brought things to life there with Free Party.
I absolutely think it has. I think even if what that does is it plants the seed in your mind that something's going to happen. So, you know, I'm not superstitious at all, but I do believe that actions are in some way create reactions, and if you don't set something into play, like we know, the whole principle of the DIY attitude is that you start, you head in a direction, may not get there the way you think you're going to get there, but you will. So if we think of magic being the thing that is special in the world, that is created by people or by nature or whatever, the specialness that's in the world that isn't necessarily easy to put your finger on, well, making that magic, however absurd you do it, whether it is two idiots too drunk on gin standing on a kind of manhole and being surrounded by the police on Ali Pali, well, that sounds like a good enough method as anything.
But I think also what it does, it kind of it's some way to imbue your project with some meaning that feels larger than yourself, because with all of these projects, they're painful to kind of get started, but also to then, they're so protracted in their production that you need something to kind of drag you through. And if it's just your sheer will, it's a hard grind, but if you kind of imbue it with some kind of other meaning, or just that helps you take the steps forward, that's very, very important.
It's almost like you have to make something memorable, no matter how absurd and ridiculous that you kind of feel doing it. The process of making something up that stays in your mind is almost like a reminder to yourself that this is what you got to do. I also did something, it was another magical ritual. Again, you know, I'm not superstitious, but I did something called a sigil. Have you ever heard about a sigil?
No, I haven't. Tell me.
So a sigil is a way of writing into a symbol a desire for a specific outcome. So it's used in sort of magic, if you like. Now, I don't believe that the creating of this symbol was responsible for the screening that the 20 odd screenings that we've just done, and the next year to come. But I think again it became a thing. It's like writing something on your hand. It's like a reminder, and it was a very simple way to remind it. And I just I made a little drawing, and it had in it everything I probably wanted to think about, and it was the same idea. It was, this film is in some way going to get out in the world this year, and I drew this little symbol, and that symbol has been in my head all year. I've had it. It was very simple. It's a circle, a rectangle. It was a circle and a triangle, and a spiral in it, and a love cabbage, and it was just a little reminder to myself. It's like a logo, if you like. And it really it just helped. Every time I kind of would feel like I'd lost way, I just remember the little thing, and it would just go remind me of that impulse, which was get it finished out in the world in some way.
You are listening to DIY Cinema Cult.
I've had my own weird chaos magic dabblings recently. When we moved down to St Leonard's, I got very much into Andrew Cotting, who's a local down here. He's an artist and filmmaker. He made a film back in the mid-90s called Gallivant, and if anyone hasn't seen it, I'd recommend you seek it out and watch it. He's very, very highly regarded. Marc thinks Gallivant's, I think it's in his like top 20 British films of all time. Very avant-garde, he's experimental. Gallivant was a film that he shot on Super 8 reels. He was doing a journey clockwise around the UK on the coast. There's something a little bit KLF about his choices. His films always have a reason. They're like spells in a way. He takes himself on an adventure,
almost psychogeographic.
Exactly, yeah, very much so. And he was doing a tour of a circle of the country with his mum and with his daughter Eden, filming just the people they met and the experiences they had and the places they went and the things they talked about. I got really into these films because around that time I was shooting lots of Super 8. I just made a collection of films called trash films. I'd go out with a dictaphone and I'd go out with like a Super 8 camera, throw films together in a way that you know you don't really often do with filmmaking. A filmmaker is always very considered and structured, whereas in music and art you can just smash things together and see what happens. And so I guess I was trying to do that with films, and I thought, I'd love to see those films again. So I dug them out on an old digibeta, got them transferred. The Andrew Cotting thing. So I ended up meeting him at a film screening recently. Because you kind of see him around locally. He would be a brilliant person to have on the podcast, actually.
Yes,
because he's very DIY in his approach to filmmaking, and he's really carved out a little niche in the British film industry that's just his own, really. But anyway, and I was re-inspired by this mode of filmmaking through him, and I dug these films out, found them. They're called trash films, and it's from 1997 to 1999, and I thought, I'd really love to make a bunch of films again like that, in that way, just as a project, just something to do, just to kind of free yourself up a bit, like exercising muscles or what have you.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was like, right, when were those films made? They went from 97 to 99. So 99, how many years away is that? Fortunately, it wasn't 23. It was, but it was 24. And I thought, oh, well, that's kind of seemingly meaningless, but never mind.
24 hours in a day, sort of.
Well, what happened then? Well, then what happened was that I realized that I was 24 when I finished making them. I'm now 48. That's exactly half of my life ago. The collection is of 12 films. So exactly half of 24. So I thought, right, what I need to do is I need to make another series of 12 films 24 years later, and each film will reference its counterpart from the 24 years previously. So number one film will in some way reference visually or thematically the number one film from the old set. So in a way, I mean, it is quite superstitious, really, but I've constructed this thing that I kind of have to do now. I can't decide not to do it. So I've built in this kind of superstitious kind of urge.
You've opened a door for yourself, and now you've got to find out what's behind it.
Yeah, because I feel like if I complete those 12 films, it will kind of open up some kind of cosmic anus that I can then just step through into 2024.
Never wait for permission. You just have to start.
Mark and I have been following, how would you describe it, Mark? Chaos magic? Chaos magic? Chaos magic? I do sort of remember how much that, a lot of my time, leisure time in the 90s and noughties to a certain extent was just going to weird short film nights or experimental visuals. I mean, it was like, it's kind of just part of the time we'd spend, really, was like, oh, there's a night and there's a bunch of films and there's some music downstairs, and it was like, and the films were never by anybody you particularly knew, but it was just interesting kind of being in that sort of environment. And I'm sure that sort of still happens, but it doesn't feel like there's as many spaces for that.
No,
maybe that's just because
I don't feel that there is, but I think the one I told you about that I took a film to recently here was Exploding Cinema, which is a bunch of people. It's been going since the 90s, and when I went there, it felt very 90s. It felt like just all the film screenings you used to go to, where
Yeah.
I mean, actually, one of the first ones I went to, I think they felt a bit more extreme. They felt there's lots of extreme characters, and I remember there was lots of kind of cabaret style really in your face acts that were on in between films, and so it was a little calmer, but not that much. And the people that was the guy that was running it up down in here in St. Leonard's he lives down here, but he was one of the original guys who started it off in Brixton. And it just feels brilliant because it's showing very experimental avant-garde stuff. It's not there's no kind of there's very little conventional narrative stuff necessarily. And that's why Andrew Cotting was showing us a clip from a film of his there as well. And it's just he just fitted in perfectly, and it was just lots of people just showing stuff that they've tried and experimenting with, and everyone kind of cheering each other on. It was really nice. It reminded me very much of the screenings I used to go to when I first started mucking about with film.
So a certain degree of that has been lost because we are in a sort of world where it's sort of in a way shoving us towards sort of production perfection. There's a 1,000,001 people on YouTube complaining that the latest 6K camera has not got one feature or another. And when you think about it now, it's so absurd because the picture quality that you get from your phone is 100 times better, in inverted commas, than the picture quality that you ever had back then. But in a way, those limitations give you a sort of an urge to sort of push boundaries and see how far you can go. And I think it was Darren Aronofsky who said when he released the Wrestler, I think that, or maybe it was Black Swan. He shot Black Swan, large chunks of it on 16mm and on a Canon 5D, interestingly. And I think the Wrestler was all shot on 16. But he said the problem with modern films is that they actually all do look the same. As in, they all emphasize a certain visual aesthetic. They're all trying to be cinematic. They're all trying to be visually extremely, with lots of depth and richness. What was interesting, obviously, about my film, doing a film about that was largely the stuff that was shot now was obviously shot on the cameras I have, but there was such a plethora of different formats that were from that era, and I really noticed, because I found a lot of these old cameras to sort of digitize stuff, because there were so many different formats, and they all had their own personality. They really did. Now I think cameras don't have massive amount of personality because they're so perfect, the quality's so good, they all have to be a certain standard. Whereas they all just had their own character. The Hi8 cameras, they kind of look pretty good. When you blow them up, they look really pretty good. The some of the DV cameras, it looked different, and it was interesting what it looked like, but they had their own built-in personality. And then what you made of it wasn't trying to be Hollywood, it was just working within those parameters. So I think that's very much the sort of part of the DIY idea is working with what you have, which we had to do, I suppose, in the 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even noughties, because there was no choice. So it made you creative. It made you have to push the envelope in different ways, taking photos as part of a film, shooting lots of stills, that I remember seeing a lot of actually short films that were all done with stills, because it was the only way to kind of create a certain look.
I made a film called Sticky Fingers about a pickpocket, which you were in, actually, I seem to remember. And at the time I didn't have a motion camera. I only had a stills camera, so I made it on a stills camera. I wanted it to be a movie, but I didn't have a camera at the time, and I couldn't hire one, and we just shot it all on stills, and it actually worked out nicely because you then use that obstruction to add characters to the film. So because he was a pickpocket, I could literally do stop motion effects of him popping things into his hand, and because he was doing sleight of hand and that kind of thing, so things would disappear or appear in his hands, and it ended up working great for the film.
So I was going to share some exciting news.
Go on, let's have
which
it.
is some exciting news. So obviously through the process of making the film, you're always in some ways have half an eye on a laurel. You're always thinking, well, the film festival process in a way is both a process of sort of showing it to people, which is fantastic, getting responses, and then hopefully by each festival you go to, you pick up both contacts, maybe for future projects, or for maybe if you were thinking about sales and that sort of stuff. But also secretly you're looking for some laurels. You're getting a laurel.
You want the good laurels.
You want the good laurel. So obviously if you get accepted to a film festival, you get a laurel. Official selection.
Yeah.
You're like, yay! I've got a laurel I can put on the poster. It makes the poster look good. And I got a laurel obviously by being on Doc and Roll, and then and we were also accepted into a festival in Edit in Barcelona, and at another one called Musical Ecran in Bordeaux, and we went to Bordeaux, and it was fantastic. 200 people, packed room, French people. I had no idea if they would like it, and they really enjoyed it. And we did like a 15-minute Q&A, and it was like, oh wow, it went on so late that the Q&A got a bit short, but it was fantastic.
Did you bang out any French en français?
No, I didn't. I had somebody, the organizer guy, translating, so it was
right. Okay.
Hence, it only lasting for 15 minutes because it was 2 questions, and he had to translate everything afterwards. But it was great, and it was fantastic to kind of go, and there's another laurel for official selection. But I got my first other kind of laurel at Doc and Roll, which was we were voted the Jury Honourable Mention Award. So
amazing.
We went into competition out of the 20-odd films. They chose 6 films to be in competition, and we effectively came second. So we weren't best doc, but we got the second place, if you like, which was Jury Honourable Mention. And then I've discovered that we've got another award, which
what is this?
Even more amazing. Was that there was an audience award, and so audiences for all of the films across the country. So there was 26 films, I think, where all the audiences were asked to vote for their favourite film. And I've just been told, and I think by the time this podcast comes out, it will be official news that we won.
That's amazing.
So we've
congratulations.
Amazing news that we won the inaugural Doc and Roll Audience Award for Best Doc. So
that is fantastic. Well, you're already building up a good amount of laurels there for the poster. Get those on the poster straight away as soon as you can.
Absolutely. Lots. There's a laurels. Exactly. Yeah. Right. So
well, that is magic. What magic news! That is brilliant and well deserved too.
Yeah, fantastic. And thanks to your fantastic work as well, Mark, because obviously, it certainly was not done on my own. I had
it was
so
a small
many
piece,
different
a small
people.
piece of the pie. A small piece of
extremely important piece of the pie, and so many people mentioned to me they're loving the graphics and who did the animation and all of that stuff. So fantastic contribution.
Good, lovely. It was lovely to see it up on the big screen at the premiere. It was lovely to see.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I finally got the ProRes versions in there as well.
Yeah. We were working up to the wire a bit, weren't we?
It's so beautiful. Make it together. We're making a movie, man. We'll make it with love. I'm so happy. Join me, man. We're making a movie. We're making a movie with love. This is amazing. Come together, everybody. Bring all your family and all your children, man. It's gonna be beautiful.
A little Dicky Bird told me that you're doing some pickups soon.
We're shooting again. We're shooting again this weekend, actually, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Who is shooting? What are you shooting? Tell us all about it.
We are shooting. Well, we've been squirreling away.
You as in the crew of
the old man. So me and our editor Melissa Holton are being kind of squirreling away, I guess. We've got a cut that's about it's a rough cut. It runs at about an hour 30, but what we're missing is all of the kind of stuff that second unit would have been picking up if we'd had a second unit or had the money. So it's kind of establishing bits and pieces, little bits of detail, close-ups here and there that we're going to go back and pick up. And we're going to do it. We're doing a shoot down here in St. Leonard's on Saturday, and then we're back in London on Sunday to do some car stuff. Basically, did the cut, and it did feel a little flat without our establishing stuff. And I just went out and shot some test stuff on my cameras. Yeah. And, once you drop those establishers into the opening 2 scenes of the film, it just lifts it. It just goes to show you how much those things really, really impact on the level of your film. Just, giving the audience little points, breathers, and also just bringing the audience into your character in a way of an introduction. It just really helps with not only just setting the scene, but also with character as well. It really helps with character. The reason why we're shooting now and haven't been doing it earlier is the budget completely ran dry, and unfortunately my own personal finances are so tied into this film. But it's been the old UK Film Fund tax relief that's come to the rescue for us, basically. So we got a bit of a rebate there, which is basically funding the pickups and probably a little bit more, hopefully, into
you have to tell me how you did it, because I've still got to do the same with Free Party.
Really? My accountant ended up helping me a lot, actually. And basically, you do have to jump through a lot of hoops with the government, but they're certainly hoops worth jumping through, because it is a considerable amount that you get back, or a considerable percentage.
25% back or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. So it's we applied first for certification from the BFI that our film is British, and so you have to go through.
I remember doing a bit of that. That takes a while, doesn't it?
Yeah, because our film isn't finished, we had to apply for an interim certificate.
Yeah.
And then we'll apply for the full one once we're back. But we are an interim British film officially in the eyes of the BFI, so that's fine. So then that means you can go on and take that certification onto your tax application, your tax refund application. So I'm kind of in the middle of just organizing shoots at the moment, but it's a little stressful, but it's nice stress. It's nice when you get back into that.
And so you've managed to, so you're doing things in St. Leonard's that are meant to be in St. Leonard's?
No.
Kind of cheating things?
Yeah, we're cheating. So we're shooting at the windows of my new flat, which could double as the flat we shot in, because we never actually saw the windows when we shot there. And it was night when we shot the first scene, and now it's daytime. So that will work. And then the second stuff we're going to shoot is one half of a phone conversation where one of the characters is breaking up on the phone with his girlfriend. So the girlfriend's never been seen yet. So it's quite funny, because although we have a 1 hour 30 cut, and we're still in kind of a rough cut phase. But even though we've gone that far down the road with the cut, there's this actress we're shooting on Saturday. We still haven't shot her yet. She hasn't been shot at all. Her scene hasn't been shot. And only 2 days ago, I cast our final actor. So she's going to be filmed next week, and she's going to appear on a video call on a phone. So although we're kind of edging ever closer to the end, we're still in the process of casting people and shooting people still. So it feels a bit back to front. It feels now we're at a stage where we're putting final little pieces in place, so it feels nice.
I started listening to your first podcast. What the hell are these two guys talking about? I mean, generally, I'll be brutal honest. I'm going to be brutal honest with you.
Please,
because I think you two need it.
We need it.
Nobody's going to give you that money. If you two want to genuinely make a film, and not just talk about it, you have to do it yourself. That's your first film. And you have to get yourself out.
We've had an interesting offer from when we were looking for graders to grade our film. we were chatting to these people who worked at a company. I'm not going to give their name because we haven't agreed anything yet, but the company that they work for is a fairly large DIT company, DIT and grading company. So DIT meaning, for people who don't know, it's it's dealing with the digital. Once the digital image is shot on film sets, it's dealing with that. It's just the organization of it, getting onto drives, backing it up, taking it to the post houses, treating it. But that company itself wants to expand itself over the next year or so to become more of a 360 production house. Because we'd sent our someone, this grader had our trailer in her hand and must have shown it to somebody. They'd seen it, liked the look of it, and they want to kind of come in and help us on the back end of our film. So that would be from grading and organizing us in terms for delivery, final specs and delivery and all the rest of it, which would be a massive help. And the trade-off is that they would get a fairly top-line production credit. They'd want some kind of production credit, because then it's a very quick, easy credit for them if they want to start putting themselves out as a production house in the next 6 months or year.
Production company.
They've got that's one credit they can say, well, this is an indie film that we did and it's called The Old Man. So still up for negotiation how much of a credit that is, and if they're doing work on gratis or if it's a reduced fee, or that's all to be negotiated, because as you know, you're in the middle of it now. There's so much legwork, so much money and effort still has to go in to push yourself over that line.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait a minute. There's the hole.
We're going to have a couple of interesting episodes coming up, aren't we? We're going to try and do some little looks into some DIY cult classics.
I think it'll just take things a little bit in a different direction. It's been great, obviously, focusing on our own projects for a long time, but we're going to, I suppose, look at the things that have inspired us and many other DIY filmmakers over the years to sort of believe that they can do something for themselves, who have then gone on to do some pretty remarkable things. So
we're gonna have a real kind of close-up look at some iconic filmmakers whose first features were real pieces of DIY art, really, artworks, DIY artworks. And the first one we're probably going to look at, first episode in that run, will probably be Mr. David Lynch, one of our old favorites, and Eraserhead.
Yes, fantastic, Uncle David. So we'll get to those hopefully soon. And, but it's been great as always chatting, and
lovely. All right, Aaron, I'll see you soon for Lynch and Eraserhead.
Love you, listeners.
Love you, listeners. Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama.
Follow us and join the cult today. On Instagram, we are DIY_cinema_cult. Seek out the DIY Cinema Cult group on Facebook, and don't forget to press those like and subscribe buttons and follow us.